How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Big Day Dave, and this is a map tour for a new mod map to Farming Simulator 22 called Fairhead. And we're going to start with the description from the mod hub, and it reads: Explore Fairhead, a coastal map inspired by the real Fairhead in Northern Ireland and adapted for Farming Simulator. This map features narrow roads with stunning views and over 120 fields, primarily consisting of grasslands. The map is suited to small and medium-sized machines that can navigate the narrow and twisty roads. This map features over 100 custom 3D models, 2 forestry areas, 2 lakes, 2 grain cell points, silage cell point, default growth plan, custom lighting, custom foliage textures, Northern Irish number plates. There are no mods required for this map, and this map was created by Fast Farming ES Agri and is 620.62 megabytes to download. If we take a look at the map, this is what it looks like. You start out right here, almost center of the map. You start out by owning farmlands number 2, 3, and 4. 2 being your main farm and a couple of grass fields. 3 being a few more. I'm sorry, not 3. 2, 4, and 5. Where did I get 3 from? 2, 4, and 5 are your main starting fields, and 2 being the farm and a couple of grass areas, grasslands, 4 being all grass fields, and 5 being all grass fields, all of which are ready to harvest. Now, field prices do vary. You can start out by buying some of these smaller fields, but it's still pretty expensive. So you got a small field over here, 55,000, 41,000, 38,000, so you do get some kind of introductory, but 179,000, the fields are not bad. Where it gets really pricey are the farms. 728,000, 800,000, you got 632,000, 296,000. So it gets really expensive for the farms. The fields, you can really do a good job of kind of building up and scraping up for, and even have a couple that are really good introductory fields, but those farms are going to cost you some big bucks. You cannot purchase the entirety of the map. As you can see, you do get quite a bit of outer boundary that you don't have access to, but more specifically, the shop area right here you cannot purchase. You do start out with a few animal pens and pastures. Contracts are available, no production chains to start out with, and no collectibles to start out with. There are mods specific to this map, but if we take a look under the build menu, nothing under here. Under the buy menu, though, if we take a look under the buildings tab and then scroll over to containers, scroll here, you'll see Fairhead. There was nothing under sheds, silos, silo extensions, and there's also nothing under tools and farmhouses. Under the productions tab, there is nothing under the production tab, nothing under the animals tab, nothing under decorations, and nothing under landscaping. So pretty quick, easy one there. Now, we do start at the starting farm, so let's take a look at the starting equipment. And you do get a fair bit of starting equipment. Under the buy menu, under the owned items, we start out with small tractors. We have a Massey Ferguson 6S180 and a 4710M. Telehandlers, a Manitou MLT 737. Cars, Lizard Pickup 1986. Trailers, the Claas Carrot 140 TD. Plows, a Kverneland Ecomat. Cultivators, a Horsch Toronto 3 FX. Power Harrows, the K-Brand HR4040. Seeders, the Nordstein HK25 and S3030. The Hardy Mega 1200L Sprayer. Fertilizer spreaders, the Amazon ZATS3200. Manure spreaders, the Brieri Manure Director 14. Slurry tanks, the FarmTech Super C800. Grassland care, we have the APV GK300 M1 Full Edition. Mowers, the K-Brand GMD 4411. Tedders, the Vicon Fanix 904. Windrowers, the Samaz Z2 840H. Forage wagons, the Pottinger Faro 4010D. balers, the Massey Ferguson 1840. Animals, we have the K-brand RA142, that is the mixing wagon. Silo compaction, the Duvelsdorf 3000. Telehandler tools with the Magzi manure fork and pallet fork. Low loaders, the Bremer Transport Wagon TP500S, and weights, the Claas W600. So if we start taking a look around our starting farm, directly behind me, we have our sleep trigger. Over here, we have our starting cow barn. Room for 16 cows in this one. We should be able to, there it is, open this gate here. Now, I believe this is our milk trigger right here. Feed trigger here. Wait a minute, 1 second. Yeah, I think that's the milk trigger. I think this back here is the slurry trigger. Yes. Couple of silos, bunker silos right here. We have a Karma 16 silo, but I have no way of accessing the silo itself, the load trigger here. I've tried to work my way around it, and I cannot seem to do anything with it. Now, tucked away in here, we have another cow barn. Let's see. Some of our starting equipment tucked away in here. Actually, no, I'm sorry. This is the sheep barn. Room for 70 sheep here. And the feed goes in here. Tucked around over here, we have another cow barn. Room for 30 cows in here. And again, I believe this is the milk trigger, feed trigger, and slurry trigger back here. Manure heap tucked away back here. Now what I'm not sure about is if this manure heap is in range for both of these barns. So if this cow barn and the cow barn in the front have straw in them, will it generate for both? I don't know. And then that is it. Bunch of storage in the back, a lot of our equipment tucked away back here. And as you can see, the starting farm itself, very, very tight, very narrow. So when they say that small to medium equipment is recommended for this map, 100% believe them when they say it. It is a very tight map, very hard to get around. Where is my starting truck? A lot of twists and turns in these yards. Very easy to get turned around. Now we're going to start making our way around the map. I'm going to cut through the farm and go out the back. Now I will say that I'm going to be kind of coming in and out of first and third person views while driving around. Because even though here it's very wide open, very nice, there are areas where it gets very covered with trees and hard to see until you get into first person mode. But this is just absolutely stunning. There are parts on this map that just kind of take the breath away, and I really, really like a lot of this map. This kind of northern end of the map is very hilly, very remote. It just feels desolate out here, like nothing is out here. Which makes for a very perfect area to build up. I believe you can actually buy this area. Let me just confirm that before I get too far ahead of me. Yeah, so you can purchase this area up here. So you can build it up. There are flat-ish areas to where you can put stuff out here. And this is where it's going to start getting a bit hard to see, so we're going to go into be kind of jetting in and out of third person. So I believe we come around over here. And now we are approaching the second farm. All right. So if we take a look at the map, we started here at the starting farm. We made our way out this kind of back road up to this area over here and down to this farm. This farm is called the Fairview Farm. The first farm we were at was Fairhead Farm. And if you zoom in and click, you will see Fairview Farm. Now we can purchase Fairview Farm, farmland number 27 for $691,027. We go ahead and purchase that. You'll see a few more pop-ups come up. So bunker silos tucked in right here. Let's see, over this fence here. Right here is another cow barn, room for 70 cows. You can open the gate here. Feed goes in there. I believe milk is here and slurry is back here. Now tucked around here we have a fuel tank. And then if we come out over here, up here we have the sleep trigger for this farm. And now let's make our way back and find our truck. Open this gate. So now we're going to head around. And again, look at the views. There are just places on here that just, when I was doing my initial kind of walkthrough and gathering all my notes, I just stopped and just stared for a while. There are lots and lots of places where you just kind of can get lost in the view. It's almost postcard worthy. Alright, but now that I've kind of saying how the praises, how pretty this map is, I'm going to come up to a point where I'm less impressed. And it's very difficult to swallow this pill. So, these sell points, I think there's some kind of issue. Now, just so I can verify, my help window's on, my interactive zone markers are on, field info is on. So I should be seeing boxes, squares, sell points, all that stuff based on those triggers. But I'm not seeing, I'm actually got a sell point, or at least what should be a sell point, right in front of me. Open this up. There's nothing here. There's no boxes to indicate that there's a sell point right here. Now this is supposed to be the Coastal Store Ltd sell point. If we take a look at the map, we were here. I'm going to go ahead and sell off this farm so I can keep the money. We were at this second farm here, the Riverview Farm. Came all the way down to here, and now you can see all these sell points. We got the Coastal Store, the Coastal Wool, Coastal Dairy, and the Sawmill. There's no sell triggers with the exception of the Sawmill. There's a wood sell trigger. I'll show you that in just a second, but there's no indicator as to where to go. So my thought is that if I pull up here with some kind of goods to sell, that it'll show up. Hopefully the sell points will show up. I haven't tested it to see if that's the case or not. So again, somewhere in this area is the Coastal Store Ltd sell point. Coming around the backside here, about right here is supposed to be the Coastal Dairies Ltd sell point. Over here is supposed to be the Coastal Wood Ltd, and you can see the little wool pallets back here. And then right here is supposed to be the Sawmill sell point with the wood sell trigger right here. But again, there's no markers anywhere as to where the selling points are. So you're going to have to come here and just start clicking around or pulling equipment around and trying to find the actual sweet spots. So that to me seems like there's some kind of error or some kind of issue. It's possible that the map maker did this on purpose, but it'd be certainly the first time I've ever seen a map maker do it. So I'm leaning more towards it being an issue rather than something done on purpose. Now again, all these little details, the little broken old school home right there, just, yeah, love the details. Now over here, we're coming up onto the third farm. If we take a look at the map, we saw all the sell points, or what we hope to be sell points, in this area here. Came all the way down to here. This is the Hillview farm. If we purchase farmland number 21 for $728,136, you can see we get some more triggers that pop up. Coming around this side over here, this is the cow barn and room for 90 cows. Feed trigger is here. I believe back there is the slurry trigger. And then open this. Milk trigger is tucked away in here. We have another Karma 16 silo, which is for your mineral feed and seeds. This one does work though. And a fuel tank right there. Go through my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything. Repair trigger tucked away in here. And lastly, if we hop the fence here, come down the road. Up here is another sleep trigger for this farm. So now let's go ahead and hop back in the truck and make our way to the next area. We're going to head down the road a little ways. And just continuing to follow this around. To the next farm. This is farm number 4, and this is called Ruin Farm. So let's go ahead and get rid of this, sell that off. We were at this farm, came all the way down the road to here, purchased farmland number 15 for $803,000. You can see more triggers are now available. Let's hop the fence. So fuel tank right here. Open this up. We have a cow barn here. We're gonna come through. The trigger, I believe, is right in here. Was it in here? No, it wasn't here. There it is. Room for 90 cows here. Feed goes here. I believe this is the slurry. No, I'm sorry. This is the milk, and this is the slurry right here. Over here we have a chicken barn, room for 960 chickens, and your spawn box for your eggs. No idea, because again, it seems like all the triggers and points of interest are missing, so I don't know where it would be hiding. But feed goes here for your chickens. Let me just make sure there's no door that opens here and it's just hiding away inside and didn't realize it. Nope. No gates, nothing to open up there. Let's see. Just need to make sure that I've got everything. Let's see. tucked away over here. Couple of bunkers. No, is this the bunker? Bunker silo right there. And then in here, repair trigger. And then sleep trigger right there. So now we're going to head down the road. Now, tucked away over here, right down there is the debris crusher. Turn around, head back to the road. And now we have a little ways to go before our next point of interest. Turn here. Follow this around. Now, right here should be the Fair Grain Ltd sell point. And then a little bit further, tucked away in here, is the animal dealer. Now, you can come to this location or use the pens and pastures that are already installed on the map and purchase your animals directly. Now, if you do use this icon or the same icon at the pens and pastures directly, you will incur an additional cost. That cost is associated to an additional delivery fee. That fee can vary depending on the animal, but for an adult cow, it can be $100 per adult cow. Gets expensive depending on how many animals that you're going to purchase. So, to save that money, that additional fee, bring a animal trailer, either leased or owned, to this location. When you bring it to this location, you load directly into the animal trailer. You can then transport the animals yourself and save that fee. So it's a good way to save a fair bit of money. So now heading down the road just a little bit further. Is the next quote-unquote farm. I'm calling it a farm simply because it has a farmhouse over it, but it's not really the farm, it's more the biogas. So let's go ahead and sell this off. And we were here at Ruin Farm, came over, saw the debris crusher sell point, then came down here over to the Fair Grain Ltd sell point, the animal dealer, and now we are here at the Fair Energy. We purchased farmland number 64 for $632,488. You will see the biogas triggers are here now, so we have access to the biogas plant. Your main wrench is here, solid inputs here, liquid inputs here, liquid outputs right over here, aka your digestate. Back here we have a fuel tank right there, and over, is it in here? No, in here. Oops. Open. Repair trigger right here. And we do have a bunker silo here and here. Now we move on to the next point of interest. We got this and one more location to go. So as you can see, we have our shop trigger right here and repair trigger here. And then tucked away in here, this is the silage sale sell point right here. But again, we're missing the kind of markers on the sell points and other points of interest to let us know exactly where the sell point is. So now we're going to follow this up and around. And again, beautiful coastline, beautiful views. Just incredible. Whoops, 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 whoops. Less looking out in the distance and more paying attention to the driving. So continuing to follow this around. And as we approach this next farm, I will be showing off one other error that I came across, one other issue. And it's coming up here in just a little bit. Trying to make sure I pay attention. There it is, right there. See that object in the middle of the road? It's like a fence that is there. I don't know what the story is with it, but it's there. So now we're heading off to the last point of interest. You can just drive around it. It's not a big deal, or if you got a bigger vehicle like a tractor or something, you should be able to just drive right over it. Not a big concern, but it's there, and it's, you know, kind of a eyesore. Now, following this little driveway, this path, we are now at the 6th and final farm. This is the Wraithlin View Farm. If we take a look at the map, we sell that off. We were at the Biogas farm, the Clean Energy or Fair Energy farm. Went up to see the repair trigger, the shop trigger, repair trigger, and the silage sales. Then came up and followed this road all the way out to here, came up and around to farmland number 38, 296,481, and now we see the last little bit. Sheep barn tucked away over here, 70 sheep, room for 70 sheep, and here you have your feed point. Now this is kind of concerning to me because the trigger appears to be tucked away all the way in here. How you're going to get something in there that's small enough, besides maybe a wheelbarrow mod or something like that, you're going to have something small, or you're going to have like a telehandler to reach if the trigger is indeed tucked away all the way back here. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, tucked away in here is a repair trigger. Let's see, just making sure I got everything. Repair trigger, right there is a fuel tank. And over here, sleep trigger. And that is it. That is the entirety of the map, Fairhead. Now, it is time to render my opinion and let you know what I think. 0 to 5 scale as per usual. Now, I'm a very mixed bag on this map. I think it is probably one of the most stunning maps in visual representations. It is absolutely gorgeous, in my opinion. I love it. I think the color palette is spectacular. I think the just the general ebbs and flows of the map are gorgeous. Yeah, it's just a very stunning map. But, and this is where I'm kind of the mixed bag, there are issues. You saw the fence in the middle of the road, just was there for some reason. The sell points not having clear markers as to where they lie, that's an issue, and it could even indicate that there's actual broken sell points. You might not actually be able to sell them. I don't know, I haven't tested it, but if those markers are missing, will there actually be sell points that are usable? That's what's in question at the moment. But with those in mind, those issues that I found, and just the kind of general ways that I feel about it, like I said, the color palette's stunning. You do get the occasional wildflowers that adds that kind of pop of color, but it's not so much to be like overwhelming and cartoonish. It actually fits. Like the wildflowers that are around actually fits and makes sense. But we drive out to here, and this is mostly a grass map. This is the vast majority of the stuff you're going to be working on is grass. You do have the occasional fields and whatnot to do arables, but you're doing a lot of grass work here. Now you could theoretically plow out some of these and make them into arables and other types of field types, product types, but it's one of those that yeah, you're going to be minimum starting out with a lot of grass. So buckle up. If grass is your thing, that's great. Um, I don't mind it personally, so it's not really going to affect the grade. But at the end of the day, I think that if there was no issues that I had found on this map, I'd probably give it a 4. Probably, yeah, 3.5 or 4. I would go as high as a 4. I think that the looks and aesthetics of this map are absolutely top notch. One of the best, in my opinion, in the kind of looks category. But all that being said, with the issues that are seen on this map, not knowing the sell points, not having the kind of fence in the middle of the road, things along those lines, I'd have to give it a 2. It's going to get downgraded because of those, and they're big issues in my opinion. Even if they're functioning sell points, that it's just missing the kind of marker, that's a big problem. That's a very, very big problem because it makes it that little more difficult to be able to figure out and find where the proper sell points are that you need to go. So it's just one of those. It's definitely an annoyance, but it could be something infinitely worse. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a 2 until those issues get fixed. Once those issues are fixed, then a 4. But I hope you enjoyed this map tour. If you did, please show me by liking, sharing, subscribing, following, commenting, doing all the things. The algorithms enjoy you doing that shows you're engaged with this channel, enjoying the content. And that being said, I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care.